What's up? What's up? The boys are live. What the Puck is back after a long weekend of some great NHL games. We got Allen. We got Vecchio. I'm surprised these guys can make some time this week after their UFC and NASCAR little hot streaks we got going on. Boys, how we doing?
Doing great. Lots of success, lots of fun.
Yeah, no complaints. We had 3 races this weekend, and I had a Discord room full of screenshots of wins. Myself, I got a takedown Saturday afternoon, so that was good.
That's all we asked for. Well, let's try and focus a little bit on hockey since this is What the Puck and not a little NASCAR, little UFC action. But man, we had some craziness happen from the last time we spoke on Wednesday to now. Allen, your boy JT, prayers up to him. That was absolute scary scene on the ice. The boys rallied around him in game 2 after a tough game 1 loss, as you could expect. So that was tough. We also had the Avs. They finished off the Blues today, 4-0 sweep. But they also have Kadri suspended for 8 games after yet another first-round playoff suspension for the kid with another just questionable hit at best. Knocked Falk out of the series. He didn't return. And he's technically appealing his suspension, which is interesting because I feel like 8 games is what he should get. But we'll see how that all plays out. And then we also have the 2 best players in the world, Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl. Absolute nothing from them in the first 2 games against Winnipeg. Now, there is game 3 currently going on right now. Leon has a couple goals. Connor has a couple assists, and they're up 3-1. So hopefully they get back. But, yeah, anything from the weekend that really stood out to you guys from DFS perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I've been very impressed with Toronto's perseverance. Obviously, as you said in that first game, like that was unacceptable. They are a team that prides themselves on scoring a lot of goals, and that game they didn't score a lot of goals. And also, they answered a lot of questions on their power play. And as you saw in that first game, they let in a shorty, and it was not pretty. Joe Thornton has been taking
it was
off.
Pretty for Paul Byron.
Oh, it was pretty for Paul Byron. It was not pretty for Joe Thornton, but they figured things out in the second game. I believe they got at least 2 power play goals for a team that had a really, really hot start to their power play, and it kind of became a running meme in the second half of the season that they just couldn't score. It was just some like crazy streak of not being able to score on the power play. It was nice for them to get a couple in that game. Matthews turned on the Jets. I think he got a goal and 2 assists for a 3-point night. That was very impressive. And I kind of like where things stand going into game 3 because they made a statement. And John Tavares, even though it's 2 weeks, it's not as long term or as serious as some people thought it might have been at the beginning.
It's 2 weeks with his knee injury. There's no timetable on the concussion, so it could be longer than 2 weeks.
That is correct. I'd hope that I've seen people play through concussions. It's not the healthiest thing in the world, but during the playoffs, some people come in with injuries and they just make it work. So we'll see what Tavares decides to do. Obviously, he has to consider his health first, and but if he is ready to go in 2 weeks, I think the team will appreciate his presence for sure. But either way, he's still going to be in the locker room and he's still going to be around the guys, which is going to be good for them. But also Vegas doing really, really well. Tampa Bay doing really, really well. And I think the Pittsburgh New York Islanders series has gone pretty interesting, but I don't think I'm the one to comment on that, so I'll pass it along.
Interesting is probably not the right word for Vecchio, but
not at all. Penguins decided to lay down on Saturday, so that was fun. But I mean, Pittsburgh's the best team in the league on home ice this season. They got 2 home games left, so as long as they take care of both those games, no matter what happens in game 6, they'll win the series. So I'm confident that they're going to get that done. Game 5 is Monday night. Brendan Saad decided to play hockey again. That was pretty interesting this weekend. He had goals in 3 straight or something, including today. He's came out of nowhere. He was kind of there this season, but he was kind of just in the background all season for Colorado, and he's had a great playoff series against St. Louis. So going forward, when they take on Vegas in the next round, it's going to be interesting because, spoiler alert, Vegas ends it tomorrow, Monday night. So.
Yeah, let's hope they do. I got a lot riding on Vegas. My biggest cut future for sure. But all right, Perfect. Let's just dive right in then. Let's go right to
Real quick,
that.
that's the thing. How about the Predators? I picked them as an upset in the first round, and double overtime games. They had a pretty good weekend with them.
Yeah, so. Kunin had a great game today. So
yeah.
That celebration was sick at the end.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Just absolutely tackled his guy into the boards. Insane. I love it though. Like that's the emotion that you want. Nashville was also rocking. The atmosphere there looked insane.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Florida now increased their capacity to 15,000 for Game 5 tomorrow. So all these stadiums are now they're starting to keep it up more and more. So I love it. They're all trying to one up each other, get more fans in the crowd than the other one. So that's the energy we need. That's playoff hockey. That's why we love it. Let's dive right in though. Let's go to that first game. Mr. Vecchio, we have the Penguins, we have the Islanders. That series now is all tied up at 2. As you mentioned, Penguins, one of the best teams at home this season, coming back to Pittsburgh for game number 5. Pittsburgh series is now down a little bit from what it opened at. And I was running a Twitter thread today, so I've been tracking all these series prices and have found a lot of interesting things with these series prices, how much they fluctuate game over game. You can get some real value. For example, if you would have took the Penguins after game 1, you had them at plus 150. Then you take the Islanders after game 3 when they're down 2-1 at plus 235. You get profit either way. So you're really getting some value on those series prices as opposed to betting individual games. But so we got the Penguins. Islanders now are plus 102 on the series. Tomorrow's money line, we got the Penguins at minus 137, the Isles at plus 118. The over/under is 2-2 in this series with 3 one-goal games. So not a lot of puck spread covers here for the favorites. This game, man, I mean, I kind of like the Penguins. I think I might sprinkle a little bit on the money line, just as Vecchio mentioned. They've taken care of business at home, even though they did lose game 1 there. I think that's where they know they need to win this game. If they lose this game, the series is probably over in my mind. I think this is a must-win for Pittsburgh, and I think the money line is going to be a good play with them today. Any lines we like on the DFS slate? We can start with Vecchio, his Penguins, if he wants to talk on them.
I mean, for me, that's one of the 2 games I would want to stack up. Every game has been a shootout, except for game 4 on Saturday. But the Islanders put up 5 on them, so 4, whatever the final score was. I turned it off to watch racing. I couldn't stomach them getting their butts kicked anymore. So, but yeah, I think that game you're probably gonna get 5 or 6 goals in that game again because neither goalie. I mean, Sorokin looked good Saturday, but he wasn't great in game 1. They got an overtime win. I'm assuming they go back to Sorokin. So, but at both teams, Islanders aren't expensive. You can stack them up. Any of their first 3 lines, I like. Pittsburgh, line 1, obviously expensive, but I really like the Penguins top line, Russ, Pencil, and Crosby. They always manage to get it done when they need to, especially Sid. And Jeff Carter's, I don't know where he found this youth that he has, but he's probably one of the hottest players in the league in the playoffs right now. And so definitely line 3 with him, McCann and Gaudreau is another line that I really like. And then, like I said, on the outside Islanders, I don't like the defensemen from either team. Especially the Islanders, they don't offer much upside. Letang is okay. Penguins, Matheson and CC have been doing okay, but otherwise, it's pretty much a forward line game for me for these 2 teams, though, and I don't want any of the goalies.
Perfect. What about you, Alan?
For me, this is a game where I'd like to take one-offs. I think Vecchio mentioned Carter. I don't know where he's found this scoring touch from, but nevertheless, he's putting it in the back of the net, and if he's going to do that, I'm going to take him. And also, Tito Beauvillier. Anthony Beauvillier has actually been impressing me a lot. I've loved him for a long time, but my problem with him has been his consistency. But towards the end of the season this year and into the playoffs, he's just found his like scoring touch, and he's been able to consistently put up points throughout the playoffs. I think there was only 1 playoff game out of the 4 where he didn't get a point, and to end the season he was doing really, really well. So if you want a one-off from that game, I would take Tito Beauvillier.
Perfect. Love to hear that. Should be a good game and a great series. We have at least 2 more games left in that one, so we'll see if that looks like one that could go 7 for sure. Next up, we got Alan's Canadians, right? Big Canadians fan.
Oh, this again.
we got the Canadians. We got the Maple Leafs. We got a 1-1 series. Now, if you're like me, smart guy, you take the Maple Leafs after game 1 on the series price, got all the way down to minus 122. Guess what? They're all the way up back to minus 250 after a game 2 victory. We got the Canadians now up to plus 200 on the series price. look at the money line for tomorrow. Maple Leafs are minus 152 going to Montreal, and the Canadiens are a home dog at plus 131. I mean, what a crazy series, right? Game 1 is kind of like a one-off just because, how the players react to an injury like that on the ice is kind of tough to really give any sort of trends on how they're going to play the rest of the series, especially with a guy like that going down, your captain, guy on the second line, first power play unit, big piece of that team for sure. I mean, they put in they have Foligno now centering that line between Nylander and who else did they put on line? Was it Hyman?
I don't remember.
Maybe Galchenyuk.
I think it was
Galchenyuk with Foligno and Nylander.
Yeah. So interesting makeup there. The over on this series is 1-1. We had an empty net goal by Kerfoot in Game 2 to push the over there. The over is set at, let's see, it's probably 5.5. Yeah, 5.5. It's a little juicy, minus 125. I'm probably not going to touch this game tomorrow since I have Leafs to win the North and the Leafs series now. There's not really much value on the Leafs. If anything, I'd almost take the Canadiens as a home dog in Game 3. Sorry, Alan. That's probably the most valuable play, but I'm probably going to stay away from this one. Anything on the DFS slate we like? Maybe, Paul Byron shorthanded goal action again?
I mean, you know what? I don't see lightning striking twice on that one, but who knows, right? I mean, anything can happen. Toronto's had a pretty abysmal power play all season where they have a propensity to give up shorthanded goals, but I would never bet on that to happen. That seems like more of a riskier play. But I don't think you can turn away from Toronto one. Obviously, Hyman didn't have the best game last game, and he hasn't had a good 2 games actually. But the Matthews and Marner really poured it on last game, both of them, and I think it's only a matter of time before Hyman, kind of joins into the team or into his line, I guess, with the scoring. So I definitely like him going into this game. I like Toffoli as well. You can never really turn against Toffoli, and if you're looking for a goalie from this game, I would definitely take Jack Campbell. I think Montreal's a little discombobulated, especially after that last loss, and they haven't had steady lines for a little bit now, and they're constantly taking pieces out and putting them back in. All my Montreal friends are like ripping on Ducharme. They hate the hell out of him, and I can kind of see where they're coming from on that one. It just some of his decisions just leave me asking so many questions.
We're still waiting for Cole Caulfield's debut in the playoffs. Hopefully it comes Game 3, but we'll see what happens. Vecchio, we got anything on this one, or is this one you're staying away from?
No, I like this game. I don't think we see Caulfield in the playoffs at all from Montreal. I think they're gonna let him watch. But I like that line too. It's gonna be different. Everyone's gonna go Matthews line. That's what they're gonna play. Throw Riley in. On DraftKings, they're cheap. The whole line is 11.8 as a line stack, which is cheap. You got the highest priced players, Nylander at 5,200. So you get Foligno and Galchenyuk both under 3,800. So they're a cheap line stack that no one's probably going to play. So if you're playing, I may play 20 lineups tomorrow, like I've been doing when I play hockey in the playoffs. Just because we got 5 games, so it's interesting to play a lot of lineups. But I'll have some of Toronto exposure, and same thing with Montreal. I like their second and third lines too. The first line just, I don't know. I still have to know. Tatar hasn't been great, but their second and third line, especially the second line with Armia, Toffoli, and Suzuki, I really like. And then they have some pretty good defense in this game. You can get some cheap guys like Justin Holl. Muzzin's not super cheap. He's 4,900 in DraftKings, but he's not that bad to put with for some salary savings. And you pay up for defense on Montreal with Petrie and Weber, but Ben Sherratt or Edmondson, they get you some block shots, some shots on goal. They're cheap, so I don't mind playing this game because I think everyone's going to want to go to McDavid's line again because he's in there. They'll play Matthews in this game, stack up Florida and Tampa. So I think Toronto, Montreal may go really low owned, and that could be a spot where you could make up some low ownership plays and some value on the field in tournaments.
Definitely should be a good game too. Another series that at first you thought was going to be kind of a walkover, but now it seems like we're in for a 6 or 7 game battle. Hopping on to the Battle of Florida, we got Tampa, we got Florida. Panthers are going back home. They should have about 15,000 rocking in right outside of Miami. This series is 3-1. We had Florida winning in overtime in Game 3, followed by Tampa throttling them in Game 4. We had some late game Well, Duclair kind of slashed Kucherov. He's questionable now for Game 5, as is Sergachev, kind of limped off late there. Spencer Knight also looks like he's going to be making his playoff debut. He was in the starters net today at practice with Bobrovsky and Drieger sharing the other net. So that'll be interesting to see. The over in this series is 3-1. I already took Panthers money line at plus 105. I think they've played pretty well this year against Tampa and in the playoffs too. I don't necessarily think that with Kucherov and Sergachev both out, I think there's value on the Panthers. The money line has already moved to minus 108, so definitely got some value there. Getting them at plus money at home. I mean, Tampa Bay could very well end this tomorrow too. Not necessarily saying I think the Panthers are going to win, but if anything, getting that value. The over/under set at 6. You can get 5.5 on some books, but it's juicy. It's about minus 130. I mean, as I mentioned, the over's 3-1, so kind of like the over again. Vasilevsky, like he looks good in some games, but then other games, he's letting up 3-4 goals. So I mean, it depends on which Vasilevsky you're getting. And then Spencer Knight, his playoff debut, it's going to be hard to really gauge how he performs. Either he's going to be lights out or he's going to absolutely stink. No in between. So on the Panthers money line right now, and might take an overplay. How about on the DFS side of things? We can start with Alan.
I think I really do like Kucherov, and I had him in my house pool. So the fact that Duclair did that outside of the play, I'm not happy with it. Let's just say that. But even so, let's assess Duclair as a hockey player. He's a good hockey player. He plays on the top line, plays with Sasha Barkov. He plays with Carter Verhaeghe. That's a very attractive line to me. I also like Florida too. I think you can, if you pair Sam Bennett with Huberdeau, even maybe Tippett, he's been playing well too. Like he's been really benefiting from his line mates, but
Seriously.
those points still count, right? So I think you can squeeze in either line there. If you're playing MME, definitely try and mix in those lines. Tampa won as always, but my top play of the slate is actually in this game, and it's no other than Alex Killorn. The guy has been lighting it up as of late. I believe in his last game, he had 4 points, 2 goals, 2 assists. Like he has gone off during these playoffs. I don't see many people on him, and I'm tired of missing out on the action. So I will be on Killorn going into tomorrow's slate. And
Kucherov gave him an absolute layup on that one goal, though.
Yes, he did. And
right place, right time, sticks there, puck goes in.
Exactly. And I think you could play him with Cirelli. There's a lot I like in this game, as you mentioned, Spencer Knight. If you're playing again a lot of lines, Spencer Knight is a GPP goalie you'll want to look at. But I think it's Tampa's time to take care of business here. We'll see how it goes on. Vecchio, what do you have to say about this game?
This is going to be a popular game because it's been so high scoring in every game. You're going to have a lot of people playing this game. So if you're playing cash, single entry, or one lineup, I say definitely look to try to stack up this game. Even if you do like a mini 2-man from one team and you do one, like a one-off like Barkov or Huberdeau or something, if you want to pay up. I think it's the most popular game on the slate. You got a lot of high-priced guys here that are going to be highly owned, but there is a good amount of value. Like I know Alan mentioned Tippett. I really like that second line with Bennett and Huberdeau. Even the third line from Florida with Marchment, Wemberg, and Hornqvist. But both teams' top 9 forwards are all in play. They have plenty of defensemen. Obviously Hedman, but McDonough and Savard. I really like those 3 on defense from Tampa. And then Florida, you have Montour. It's relatively cheap. So is Forsling. Uyghur's a little expensive. I don't know if I want to play him. But Radko Gudas, no one ever plays him. He's one of those guys who'll just stand out there and block 10 shots in a game. And you go, how did he get 20 points? Well, he blocked 10 shots. And that's, like he just quietly just gets these fringe points that makes him worth the $3,000 you got to pay for him, whatever he is this week, Monday night. But 2,600, it's not even 3,000. But he's cheap. He fills a role. He averages 6 points a game for a guy who doesn't score points. 13 points, 50 games in the season, and that's including the playoffs. So he's not a point guy, but he'll give you those fringe points. So that's kind of what I'm looking at this game. Try to be different if you're playing a bunch of lineups or you're playing in big tournaments. Don't necessarily just go right to line one on both teams. Look at the secondary scoring.
Love it. You can't always go chalk in these things, or then, everyone's just got the same lineups. You're not going to win money that way. You got to go contrarian sometimes and find those value plays. That's why these guys dig it deep. Next game up, we got the.
It looks like Washington's done. Boston made it 3-1. So
3-1. How much time's left?
6 minutes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
5.5.
Love that. Bruins series plus 120.
Okay, that one's on Vecchio. Vecchio just jinxed it. Sorry for all the Boston fans.
If the Caps win tonight, man, I'm coming over there and I'm beating your ass.
Hey, you know what? As a Penguin fan, I don't want to play the Bruins if they advance. So let's go Capitals.
That's fair. That's fair. My buddy who's a Penguins fan has the same thought process. He thinks the Caps are way weaker than the Bruins.
Very.
All right. Well, we got Alan's favorite series, the other Canadian series. We got the Oilers. We got the Jets. I think the score right now is 3-1. First two games, man. McDavid, Draisaitl absolutely shut out of business. No points for McDavid. He has 2 points tonight, which is great. Draisaitl has 2 goals, so that's definitely helpful for those boys. This series now, we got Edmonton at plus 330, Winnipeg at minus 455. So obviously, I re-upped on my Edmonton series there, and it's looking at least like we're getting some value if they take care of business in this game. The under is 2-0 in both these games, so and it's looking like this game might hit the over. I think it was set at 6 though, so we'll see. The lines actually aren't set for today's game or for tomorrow's game because they're still playing now. So not much to talk on the money line or the puck lines or the over-unders. So we'll just go right into the DFS side of things. Are we taking Edmonton 1 here? Are we thinking that they're going to roll Draisaitl and McDavid again tomorrow night? Maybe they'll split them up and go McDavid, pull Yarvi with Draisaitl and Yamamoto. What are we thinking?
First of all, they're reviewing that goal for Washington, so Boston fans don't get so mad at me. It looks like it might be interference. The goal got checked out up by the net, but yeah, I don't think you. If you're playing again, like I said before, with the last game, if you're playing single entry lineups, cash games, just play McDavid, and then figure out how to get everybody else in. Pay his salary. He had a couple bad games, but he doesn't have 2 bad games, 1 good game, and then a bunch of bad games again. Like if he gets going, he's gonna probably put up another 3-point night on Monday. So back to back, he's hot. I really do think though in this game again, I like Hellebuck again. Edmonton's gonna get everyone again. If you're playing tournaments like I am, Hellebuck's a nice play in goal. He's not expensive. Edmonton's gonna shoot the puck a ton, and everyone's gonna play Edmonton. So you're gonna have if for some reason they manage to do what they did last game, a 1-0 overtime game, you get a goal, he gets an overtime shutout, ton of saves, and no one's gonna have him. Ownership probably under 10% on the 5 game slate for him tomorrow night. Hellebuck is probably my favorite goalie next to Fleury on the slate. If you're playing tournaments, if you're playing cash, then maybe you look at Campbell or Fleury as the top goalies there. But I don't love a lot of the offense in this game. Winnipeg is a little banged up. Edmonton doesn't have much outside McDavid and Draisaitl, so I would rather not necessarily fade this game, but look for like one-offs. If you can fit the salary in for McDavid, Draisaitl, go ahead. Maybe they'll play Scheifele with Wheeler or Ehlers. That's where I go. But I wouldn't go looking to stack this game. By the way, the goal didn't count for Washington, so it's 3-1 still.
Perfect. Alan, what do we got?
I agree with what Vecchio had to say. I mean, like, other than McDavid and Draisaitl, Edmonton is not a deep team. I like to say they're an AHL team with 2 NHL All-Stars, and like if they're playing on the same line, you could definitely stack them together. This is definitely not my favorite game, but you can never really count McDavid out. Like as Vecchio said, like he just won't like turn on for one game and turn off. So now that he actually has 3 assists in this game, he's assisted on every single goal, and Draisaitl has 2 goals and an assist. So they're both on 3-point games. So I think that they had a fire lit under their keister after their first 2 games. So we'll see how they go into game 4. But yeah, Hellebuck, I took him today. Not great, but he was only 7,300. I don't see his price being that much different going into tomorrow. So definitely, if you're in a GPP, consider him. But yeah, like going into that next game, that's where my goal is going to be. But yeah, I guess if you want to play this game, there are some options. You can play Edmonton 1, as we mentioned, Draisaitl, McDavid, and Winnipeg I think you can get Ehlers. You can probably squeeze in Connor. Scheifele again. But they're a little expensive, especially on FanDuel. I really don't. I think you could use your money elsewhere, in my opinion.
Love it. Love the insight. Should be a great series too. We'll see how this one plays out. Hopefully it's 2-1 going into tomorrow. But yeah, we got our final game. Speaking of goaltender interference, there was a very questionable goaltender interference call last night in the Wild versus Golden Knight game. I mean, Foligno barely touched Fleury on the edge of the crease, and they challenged it and got the call for goaltender interference. I wasn't a fan of that call, even though I'm someone who's rooting for Vegas. I just think that opens a whole can of worms that shouldn't be opened going forward with the playoffs. Very soft call, in my opinion, but I don't get paid to make those decisions, so I just get paid to talk about them. But we got Vegas leading the series 3-1 now. If you're like me, you took Vegas after they lost game 1 at minus 108 on the series price, because now they are minus 2,500 on the series price. And we got Minnesota at plus 1,000. But yeah, I mean, what a series is turning up. Vegas after game 1 kind of got the fire lit up a little bit. We got the Golden Knights minus 175 coming back home to close it out in game 5 tomorrow. We got the Wild at plus 148. The over-under is 5.5. The over in this series is 1-3, so the under might actually be a good play, in large part due to Marc-Andre Fleury just playing on it out of his mind. Kind of surprised that they keep rolling with him, just because even though he's been so good, he's kind of had the MO of getting burnt out later on as the playoffs go along, and they have a very capable, I would even call him like a 1B, not even a backup, in Robin Lehner. So we'll see how that plays out as the series progresses. But we got a great game coming up. I'm not going to touch this because I'm so heavily invested in Vegas and Minnesota. I don't really see any value on the Vegas money line. If anything, I would sprinkle maybe Minnesota on the money line at plus 150. That would be my play, but I'm going to stay away from this game. As you guys mentioned, I think DFS slate, you might not be going with the forward lines, but sounds like you might be wanting to take the Flower and net. What do we think?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think Vecchio mentioned it earlier. I think Vegas gets it done. It's a little bit of a spoiler, but they've just really taken control of this series altogether. Like, as you said, they dropped the first one, and then they proceeded to win the next 3. I hope Toronto can learn from that stellar example and continue that trend of losing the first game and then stealing the next 3. So going into this one, I really like Fleury. As you mentioned, he's stood on his head the entire series. I think he's going to do it again. And he is going to be uber chalk, but I think this is chalk that you just might have to eat. Again, I think Tuck has been playing well all series. You could definitely get something out of him. And Vegas too, even though they didn't have a good game last game, they've had a pretty decent series overall. So I might go back to them if I'm going to touch a line in this game. But yeah, you also have Kaprizov on the other side, but I'm not really looking at this game for forwards. I'm looking at this game for Fleury.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat there. I don't mind if you're playing, like I keep mentioning, if you're playing tournaments, you're playing a bunch of lineups like I am. I'll sprinkle some Vegas one just because they'll be different. Tuck playing with Stevenson and Stone, unless Pacioretty's back. I know there was some talk he might be coming back.
I don't see them rushing him back if they're up 3-1, if we're going to be honest.
I think if this game goes back to Vegas for a game, it goes back to Minnesota for game 6, maybe you see him if they don't want a game 7. But if everything goes well tomorrow night, then they'll sit out until the Avalanche series starts. But yeah, like I said before, this series ends, I think, on Monday night. Fleury is the goalie. If you're playing cash, you have to play him. If you're playing tournaments, I mean, if you want to pay the price for him, he's 8,400 on DraftKings. You pay the price, and you can. There's so much value in these other games. You can make anyone fit who you want. But yeah, Minnesota side, it's maybe Kaprizov, Fiala if you want to play a power play stack, but in the playoff times, you don't really look for that. But I think Fleury and Vegas win, so I don't want to really play any Minnesota.
Yeah, let's hope Vegas closes this series out, because that round 2 matchup between the Avalanche and the Golden Knights is going to be one for the ages, in my opinion. I think that power versus power, arguably the 2 best teams in the whole NHL this year, and we get to see them in round 2.
That'll be a treat for sure.
Yeah, well, we'll see how your Maple Leafs and how your Penguins end up doing tomorrow. Good luck to you boys. You guys got the betting insight now. You got the DFS insight. What the Puck. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. We'll be having our picks out there. Get on the Discord channel. I'm sure Vecchio and Alan will be posting their lineups in there, letting you guys know what the best plays for the day is. So keep following along, and let's win some more money, and let's keep pushing through these playoffs as we get to the end of the first round. Second round's probably starting up in the next week or so.
Absolutely.
Yep.